Want to increase Instagram views and reach a wider audience, sparking Instagram growth? Well, you got to make Uncle Al, the Instagram algorithm, happy, and we know how. In this video, we're going to be discussing your three biggest tips to more views on Instagram. Join us as we share three Instagram strategies that'll help you increase Instagram views and a few social media tips to get in good favor with the Instagram algorithm and understand it better, including which are the three biggest factors for you to actually get more views? And of course, today we are going to be joined by a very special guest. So, as always, let's get into it today as we help you step your gram up on the latest episode of the Social Roundtable. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you guys are here joining us, whether you're watching live or catching the replay. We appreciate your presence here as we join in together and talk about this really important topic of getting more views on Instagram because who doesn't want more views? I think we all do to some degree. And it's harder than ever on Instagram to actually get those views. So, we want to share a few things with you guys on how we actually are utilizing strategies and tips to do exactly that. As always, we are going to be joined today by a very special guest and also my incredible co host joining us, Megan. What's going on social media with Meg? How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. I'm doing wonderful. I'm so grateful to be here. And thank you to everyone watching live and the replay. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. We always love really understanding where everyone is tuning in from and to get a little bit more information to get to know you better. So, today's topic is going to be really juicy. If you guys are new here, my name is Meg and I own Social Media with Meg. I help content creators, entrepreneurs grow and scale their business using social media. And I'm so excited to have Alicia here with us today to dive in deeper about this awesome topic, really helping you get more views. So, Alicia, the mic is yours. If you want to take a moment, introduce yourself, let our audience know where you're coming in from.
Hey everybody, I'm Alicia Noel at I am Alicia Noel across all social media platforms. I also work in the space of helping entrepreneurs and content creators really hone in on their voice, create a digital presence that makes them feel good and feel confident in what they're putting out. And I love this topic so much because right now we are in one of the biggest algorithm shifts that I have seen over probably the last 5 to 6 years. And so it's just such a unique experience to see and to test out. A lot of us have been in testing phase all Q1 to really test out what's working and what's not working and really making the shift in strategies that work. So I'm excited to help my clients, help those that are in members of my society do better in this space. So I can't wait for this conversation today.
Awesome. I'm so glad we have you joining us once again, Alicia. As we've kind of been talking a little bit earlier. It's been a little bit of a while. I think since 2023, perhaps we were trying to figure it out. I'll look it up in the data. We still got our old episode on the YouTube channel, so we'll definitely check it out and see when. But we are glad that you are here joining us today. And like I said, as always, we are very glad that you, the viewer, are joining us in our discussion today. I'm not. Oh yeah, there she goes. Angela is in the live chat. We have our amazing moderator in the live chat. She is there, so please a little bit of love and respect for her. She answered the question, Maryland, just outside of DC. So for those of you guys that are in the live chat, please feel free to answer the question that Megan posted. Megan asked, "Where are you guys watching from?" I put my own as well. In Jersey, but we'd love to know where you guys are watching from as we jump into this conversation today about a topic we all want to know more about. So without that, we're going to get right into it. I know you guys got questions. We are going to get into those questions in a moment. Please save them for our little Q&A segment. We have two questions already, and I'm sure there's going to be more as we continue our conversation. But we're going to have a couple we're gonna have a little game after our conversation about this topic. Megan is going to lead with, so please stay tuned for that. Because you guys can also engage with that. But we're going to get into the main topic at the hand right now. Once again, you are watching your three biggest tips to more views on Instagram. So, ladies, are you guys ready to get into this conversation?
Let's go.
Awesome. Well, you said it first. I'm going to pose this question to you first, Alicia. Our main topic, as I said, we're talking about how to get more views, and I want to kind of lead off with this quote that I found. I actually shared it earlier today on a carousel post, but I think it's really important that we understand and kind of set the grounds of what we're discussing today. So, this quote comes from Thomas Finetto. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. We know Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, but there are other executives. He happens to be an executive there. He is the head of creative at Instagram. And in an interview with Brock Johnson, he said, "You only ever hit on a good day 5% of your audience." End quote. And I can't believe that that is now public. I think it was always been something that we kind of somewhat believed. I always thought it was like 3%. So like maybe the extra 2% I should feel happy for. But nonetheless, that leaves an entire 95% of my audience. If I have 10,000 people in my audience, 9,500 aren't seeing my posts on a regular. And he's telling me that I should feel good on a good day that my content reaches 500 people out of 10,000. I could do the math. I've passed that level of math, and that math ain't mathing. So I want to kind of get into this topic as we are discussing how to get more views. I have a two-part question. So I'm going to ask you this first, Alicia. What's a major factor that influences content views on Instagram? And with that one factor, what is one way you suggest to positively influence it so that it can benefit you?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, and this is, I'm going to start broad and then try to get it down a little bit more on a molecular level. The broad thing is engagement. And I know we hate, I think back to the days when people used to try to have these engagement pods and things like that. And those are just don't do those, you guys. But the thing is, engagement is truly the key that is going to tell the algorithm this is something people like and want to see more of, meaning they comment on it, they share it with someone else, they save it for later. I've gone back and forth here lately with for a while I felt like shares were just the number one thing, is if someone shared it with someone it was really hitting. But I have seen saves ticking back up. Back a couple years ago saves were the number one thing, and so I think now we're really, they're trying to drive people to the platform. So if you just save it, that's just for me, unless you have a collaboration
Yeah.
folder, which we could go into that. But if you share it, even if you share it with your other account, and we'll talk about that later. But if you share it, what it is signaling to Instagram is it's really telling them you're sending this to someone else, which is hopefully making them open up the platform if they haven't opened it. And that's, I think, why we've seen such an increase with shares hitting so much harder than any other engagement type of not I want to say strategy, but engagement feature on the post. And so putting something together that really makes people want to share it, want to send this to either their business partners or send it to their best friends. My husband and I send so many reels and things back and forth to each other. It's crazy the amount that we send. But I think in general, that's what Instagram is really looking for, to get more people onto the platform. And so that engagement factor it's telling the algorithm this is something that someone wants to send to someone else, someone wants to look at multiple times, meaning they saved it, or just commenting on it can really also help. And that's where we're seeing things like Manychats really be able to drum up some engagement when maybe before they saw the outfit, they liked it, but they forgot to come back to it. Now with the comments and them sending you the DMs, I just, you're not going to catch all those, you only get 5%. I don't even think it's 5%, but you're only going to get, if you're only getting the, let's say 3 to 5% of your followers seeing your content. If those 3 to 5% see it and they do nothing about it, they don't like it, they don't comment, they don't share, they don't save it, you're not going to see a reach to non-followers whatsoever. And obviously, in the industry that we're in, since your followers aren't seeing it, you really need to be tapping into that non-follower strategy. You may not grow in numbers, but if you're getting the views and they're learning you, they will eventually begin to follow you and begin to become part of that loyal audience. Even if they're not following you right away because they saw one post, it's taking multiple posts now to
Yeah.
get them to follow you.
Yeah, it's harder than ever to get people to hit that follow button. You gotta earn that follow nowadays. You can't just simply go out there, dance, and pull off this nice trend like we did back in the day, and next you know you got tens, dozens, hundreds of followers. You got to earn that follow, and I don't mind that concept. Because I've always been like that. I don't just immediately follow. I always feel like you have to earn it. And it might not be from that one post. As you said, it's multiple posts. I might go that one post I might be attracted to. I might like it. I go check out your profile and say, oh, there's tons of content like this. This is what I want, and then I hit the follow button. But I definitely agree with what you're stating in regards to that. Megan, if you want to respond to Alicia in regards to that, where she's stating engagement is a key factor and has shared a few tips, do you want to do you have any ideas in regards to that you want to share as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's been said from Adam himself that shares are so important. So you're spot on there. And not only thinking about like from that one user's perspective, right? It's not just that I took action and shared it, but it's because if I shared it to one person, that doubled the reach. And then that person shared it to someone, it doubled the reach. If they share it to their story, I mean, that can do incredible things for your reach. So it really is about getting more people to spend longer time on your piece of content. And I mean, am I sharing my tip yet or not yet?
Yeah, if you want to jump right in, you could go right as well and share your tip in regards to this. For those that are jumping in, I just want to remind you guys the question at hand that we are asking, and not just to us that's on the screen, but to you as well. Please feel free to share it in the live chat or in the comments if you're catching the replay. The question is, what's a major factor that influences content views on Instagram? And what's one way that you suggest to positively influence this factor to benefit yourself? All right, Megan, it's all yours.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I was saying it's keeping people on that piece of content longer. And my tip is really focusing on the retention rate. So, how long somebody has spent on your post, your reel, your carousel, your photo, your profile, even. So, if they are coming and looking at your story every day and going to your profile every day, that's going to help move you up into their algorithm, right? We all have different algorithms. So we don't just have one master algorithm, and we all have multiple different algorithms within our platform. So, what we get shown, who we get shown, new content that we get shown, what really is at the top of our feed compared to the bottom of our feed, and who is in our lineup of stories and the position there. So many different things go into the algorithm, but the ultimate thing is that retention rate. So, just like Alicia Noel was explaining there about, how somebody shares something, that's just allowing someone else to see it and increasing that overall retention rate. Somebody now has gone into their DMs, seen that post, they go back into their DMs next time, they might see it again, right? So we're just constantly thinking about how long someone's spending time on that piece of content. And I mean, thinking about a tip on how you can increase that retention rate will be a little bit different for reels than carousels, for one niche versus the other niche, versus one brand versus the other brand. So it's it's really gotta take the time to do some different digging and research. I think the best thing that helps me learn what is working is I observe how I consume. Why did I stop on something? Why did I swipe all the way through? Why did I watch until the end? Why did I take time to go down and actually read the caption? Why did I send that to somebody? And then take it that next step further of not just, oh, I shared it to someone because it's funny, but why? Why did that speak directly to me? Oh, it's the language they use. They use, mid 30-year-old woman, blah, 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 like something that just spoke to me, something that was really about their target audience. So seeing that specific verbiage, and that also goes for visuals, right? So any visual hook, any reason why I decided to stay till the end could be that pattern interrupt when it comes to reels. So,
Yeah.
not just having the camera right here the whole time and talking, but we're talking here for like 3 to 5 seconds. Then we're talking here. Then we're talking here, kind of moving things around. All of these things just increase that retention rate. And little tips, start to study why you spend time on a piece of content, and it's going to help you understand what to do for your content to help keep people on your content longer.
Retention rate is where it's at, and we start to see that Instagram is paying a lot more attention to that. They gave us that new chart graph in Instagram Insights, and it's something that
Yeah.
it might seem so small. They say, "Oh, well, how many people stayed on for the first 3 seconds?" The first 3 seconds are very, very valuable, and it's not just on Instagram. They speak about this on YouTube as well, and I'm sure TikTok also. because you could lose somebody in half that amount of time. So depending on what you're doing, if it's on a reel or the certain words that just as Megan is stating, the certain words that they are using to capture attention, whether it's on a reel caption or the hook of a carousel, you got to start thinking about how to capture that person's attention longer, because then you rack up on all those views. And then hopefully those people that like it do as Alicia's saying and share the content to others, and you start to increase your views. Well said. I'm going to go back to you, Megan, to see if you have a particular question that you want to ask our live audience, as well as those that are watching the replay. They could answer in the comments.
Yes, for sure. So currently, right now, as you scroll through your Instagram, is there a style of post or reel that you're loving? So are you seeing carousels that are like scrapbook and you're loving all of those? You notice that you're stopping. Are you seeing reels that are more talking to camera and you're stopping for those? Are you seeing more filters, less filters? Like, is there something in the whole scheme of content that really right now is stopping your scroll and getting you to spend time on it? Let us know in the comments so we can all learn and try to study that a little bit and understand why, see if we want to apply it to our own.
Can I answer that myself? As if you
I
don't
would
mind,
love
before I
it.
go into
Yeah,
this.
both of you.
Honestly, I've been really enjoying carousels and reels, but I think carousels more. I actually just posted one today, and I had to, like, maybe I'm feeling myself a little bit, but I had to step back. Was like, damn, that was a good carousel. That was good. Like the stats I was able to share, the quotes, the research, the colors, the layout. I was like, this is exactly what I would want if I was on the opposite side. So I'm really feeling carousels. I really wish they got more attention as Reels did. But to kind of I'll give you guys a little idea of what's been going on in the back end. When we put together this show, we don't share our answers with each other. So no offense, but Alicia took my answer in engagement, right? So I want to speak on that because it was a great answer. I was going to say it myself. But in regards to that, what I want to say is I like to choose particular types of engagement that I want to try to get based on the content format. So reels, when I create reels, I'm trying to get more shares. I think reels are easier to share, especially if it's funny, if it's relatable. With carousels, I don't find as many people share carousels, but they definitely want to comment depending on what you're talking about, the subject matter. And I feel like they're for two different audiences. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in regards to my answer that I came up with because Alicia stole my first one. But Alicia, if how did you want to answer this question that Megan just posed to the audience?
I loved exactly what she said about thinking through what you want to consume. For me right now, I am in the midst, kind of like you, of really enjoying carousels and reels. What I am loving right now, and honestly, at first I didn't realize what they were doing, but now I've caught on, is the carousels that start with like a screenshot from like the recording of an interview, and it's like the hottest quote is on the top. I saw one today. It was Quinna Brunson, and she was talking about how she didn't like when people said they didn't know they would be where they were. But when you swipe, it's the first part of the interview. And then you keep swiping through the interview because I want to hear the rest of the story. And so when we talk about that engagement, when we talk about keeping people on a video, you're seeing more people who do have really good videos that are taking and splitting them up and making, even if they're taking just short pieces, you can have up to a minute in a carousel video. But when they're taking like maybe 15 seconds of the video and making you continue to swipe, that is signaling to Instagram, like, okay, these people want to be on this piece. They're swiping for more. They're looking for the rest of the story. And so I really, really love those carousels that are kind of taking that longer interview and breaking down maybe some highlights. So a great idea if you have a podcast, you have a YouTube series, it's a great way for you to break that down. And then also, because for you that do not know, I didn't start out with offering social media services. I started off with graphic design. So I am loving the return to beautiful graphics and really taking your time to make little images float in a carousel or a quote post. I love the scrapbooking, the writing. I just think it's really trying to humanize, but also just leveling up something that could be very basic. What you notice is these are not high quality. I went and booked a photographer photos. These are literally
Yeah.
like an iPhone of my desk, of me sitting down, of me in the kitchen, and then just adding that extra step of graphics to make them outlined and just look a little bit cuter. So I am fully embracing and loving this style and taste because it taps into my graphic design heart.
Well, first off, I did not know that about you, that you started in graphic design. So that's awesome. Second of all, I think a few people in the live chat would agree with you. Rooted in Hampton Roads said, I love the scrapbook style carousel. I wish I could find a good template that I could use to create my own. Uh, I agree as well. I think the scrapbook is really coming back. And James said, Reels is his love language. I love the way that you put that, James. Well said. I think that these, it just kind of goes to show that there's no one true answer for what is working right now on Instagram. But if you like certain things, there are certain practices and tips and strategies, some of the stuff that we are sharing today, that you could best utilize to help push you over the edge and help increase your views in regards to that. Because as we said earlier, as the creative lead at Instagram said, it's only 5% of your audience on a good day. you know, that's winning on a good day. So we got to do these type of strategies and tips, techniques to increase that number. So hopefully we can reach 10%, 20%, and even more. Um, Before I answer the same question, I want to remind you guys this is the Social Roundtable, a weekly YouTube live series that myself and Megan host every week with different guests. And today we are so glad and blessed to have Alicia Noel join us to talk all about this topic that is very important to you guys. Your three biggest tips to get more views on Instagram. If you are new here, we definitely glad that you are watching, whether you're watching live or as a replay. But please, we want more people to catch on as well. We want to build with other audiences. And the best way to do that is to like this video, hit that like button. And if you want to catch more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and join our community so you could catch on to our weekly live series for more guests and more topics like this. I'm going to answer. I came up with an answer. Always have a backup. This is live. You got to have a backup. No, but I want to talk about something that usually when we talk about more views, we come at it from the point of view of new followers. We're focused on building and growing our audience. But at that same time, we sometimes forget about our current audience. I'll use the same example again. If you have 10,000 followers, the person's like, I need to get more views. I want to create more reels so it attracts more people. So that 10,000 turns into 1,000, I mean, 11,000. But with that information that we're only reaching 5% of our audience, imagine if we were able to reach more of that audience that helps fuel our content to go outside and then reach new followers. So, what I want to suggest is don't forget about the people you already have in your audience because apparently 95% aren't seeing our content. And there are ways that you could actually change that because what we know is whenever you send a DM or you go and comment or engage with people's content, they end up seeing more of your own content as well. You're telling the algorithm, you're reminding the algorithm, or I call the algorithm now, Uncle Al. You're telling Uncle Al, hey, I got a relationship with this person. I want you to show more of my content to this person. And Uncle Al, in respect, is going to see the engagement go back and forth, especially with DMs. To me, DMs are the highest factor that does this. It's going to say, okay, and it's going to start showing more of your content. And if that person already has some form of understanding of who you are, because they've already pressed the follow button, but now they're just not seeing your content, they're going to start to see your content more. And they're going to be like, hey, I haven't seen this guy in a while. I want to check out some of his old content. Start engaging with some of the old content. Start refreshing some of the new ones. That sparks this back and forth with the algorithm that is now going to actually start sending your content to more of your old following that haven't been seeing it prior. So you start to change that 3 to 5% of your audience to maybe 7 to 10%, but now they become the norm. That's now your average default with the algorithm. So don't forget about the other people that you already have in your audience. They have followed you for a reason too, and it's not their fault that they are not seeing your content. But we can change that if we utilize certain strategies, like going back in your old comments and What I used to do, I used to go back in my old post and tap on every person that commented. And if they weren't somebody I engaged with in a long time, just kick up a conversation, spark a conversation from their IG stories. And that is something simple enough, something genuine. I'm not saying to go and put out, buy my product, put out a genuine comment and you have a conversation going, and the algorithm now knows that, hey, we have to rekindle this communication, this fire, this relationship. So that would be my idea. Try to focus on not just the new followers, but some of your current followers as well.
That is
Uh,
such a great point. We're always thinking about growing and reaching more, which is great. But if we're not continuing to deepen that relationship with our current people, I mean, they're going to start to feel like, man, unappreciated. And that's really something that the more you grow, the harder it's going to be. But you're definitely going to have to take that time, put it in your schedule to go in and engage with those people and show them love. And I mean, one way that I love to do that is I don't by any means do this consistent enough. Like I thought about it last week. I was like, I got to do that again. But taking the time to just go in, like Hassan said, to old posts, people who have been commenting or new followers and sending them a voice note, just saying, hey, thank you so much for being here. I just, so grateful that we're connected. And only doing that to, 5 people a week or so is just going to mean so much. It's going to add up and it doesn't feel like the spammy random, you know, text of a message. It just is more
yeah.
connective and it just also helps you feel good because you're not just talking to a void.
Oh, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
Just about the building. One of the, we talked about it a lot, but community is such a focus. And I feel like they're not engaging with you because they don't feel a part of the community anymore. And with they're not seeing your content, they're not seeing your stories. And so as soon as you start DMing with somebody, you notice their stories start popping up first for you. Your stories are popping up first for them. So it's all about being Instagram putting people in front of you that they know you're going to talk and have a conversation with. And so if you're not actively reaching out and building that conversation with those people who follow you, then they're not going to show your content to them. And so once they go follow new people, they're seeing you could follow somebody today. In the next 3 days, you would see between 7 to 20 posts from them
Yeah.
because they're like new and fresh, and sometimes I actually don't like that, but we'll talk about that later. Because it's like, I don't want to be in their feed too much. But in general, your people are not seeing your posts like that. And so I really, really love that there is this push to build back that community. And honestly, for me, I am okay with being at a rapid rate of losing followers who are not the right community members for what I'm going to be focused on, and focusing more on serving the people who are there. So don't forget those people and serve them well.
Yeah, I love
Serve
that.
them
I love that
well.
you. Yes, exactly. I love that you said that you're okay with losing followers rapidly. I think more people need to be able to admit this because I currently over the last year, I haven't really changed much. It's just changing the way I'm showing up really and speaking and the type of content. I think I've lost like almost 4,000 followers. Yeah. And it's okay because it's the people who are there still that are really interested in the meaningful conversations that really matter.
Yeah, I think at
Absolutely.
first I was kind of afraid to talk about that. You know, I went through and did the dump of those that were deactivated old accounts. I've had my account for a very long time, and I know people are just, you wanted that vanity number to be there, but I really don't. I really want the people to be there who are actually engaged, who are actually, when they see my stuff pop up, they're excited to engage with me, chat with me. And so I think we have to kind of do that reverse psychology on ourselves and just say, I don't care what the numbers are. The people that want to be here are here, and we're building conversation that's beneficial for them as well as beneficial for me, because I know I have something to offer them that is great and rewarding for them.
Yes.
I love that. I love that part of the way you're thinking about it because Gone are the days that we are so focused on this big vanity metric of followers. Because we see that followers, the number of followers, don't truly matter. You know, you could have 500,000 followers and still not make us. First off, if you have 500,000 followers, based on these numbers, you're only reaching, what is that, 5,000, 50,000? I gotta need a calculator for that one. But you're not reaching anywhere near what you think you're going to be reaching in regards to your audience. But we've seen that there are those that are much more lower, whereas like 5,000, 500 followers, and they're making a good amount of money, you know, whether it's enough to earn a living or just something on the side. You're making a good amount of money because it really depends on who is in your audience. It's something that I spoke about this a few weeks ago with Megan, and I'll share with you, Alicia. I found a way on Instagram, and I shared it on my Instagram. There's a way that you could actually get a list of your entire followers. And I found a way to do it, and I actually did it. You get it directly from Instagram, so it's not illegal. It's not a third party. You get it directly from Instagram, and I was just under 10,000 followers. So sure enough, it gives me a worksheet full of like just under 10,000 followers. And my intentions, as crazy as this is, I plan on going through this entire list and either engage with the person depending if they have an active account, but if they don't and they've been inactive for a year, kind of do as you guys suggested, and maybe have to remove them because they're not really serving the audience, nor can I serve them anymore because they're not active. So I don't mind going through that in the long run. It's going to do exactly as I said, bring me closer to those that have possibly not been seeing my content for who knows how long. So I did the numbers, and it's going to take me like 9 months. I could probably have a baby by the time I'm finished with this list, but I think it's actually worth it. I think it's something that I am focused on doing until the end of the year. I'm starting in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. I did not know about the list, so definitely I'll have to go check out your Instagram where you showed us that. Make sure you
Listen,
put
you got a
that
lot.
somewhere.
You got a lot more followers. You got a lot more followers. That's gonna be a
Yeah,
big
it's taken a
file.
while, but I think it's worth it. And I tell people that, especially as I was growing, I was spending so much more time talking to people. And you do get to a point where you're just like,
Yeah.
it's so hard to reach everyone. But I really want to get back and get rooted in that. I'm here to serve the community that follows me. And if they're not seeing anything, if they're not asking questions, I'm not serving them well.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this conversation that we guys are all having in regards to this topic. Listen, you may have came on at the end of our conversation about this topic, your three biggest tips to get more views on Instagram. But nonetheless, this was a very good conversation about how to do that smart, wise, and strategically with these incredible individuals that I have on the screen here. If you guys got any value from this, please, once again, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe if you are not a member yet of our respective YouTube channels because we give a lot of information like this and great conversations with myself and Megan with incredible guests like we have here today with Alicia Noel. But don't leave too soon. We do have a little bit more. I just want to make sure that you guys are getting nice and satisfied with all of the content that we are sharing here today. And as I always like to say, step your gram up in the best way possible with the information that we are sharing. We're going to move over to our Q&A session. We do have a couple questions. I have a feeling we might get a couple more, but we like to play a little game. Megan is going to host a game with myself and Alicia, and of course, you guys watching, whether you're catching the replay or you're watching live. So, Megan, the mic is yours.
All right, awesome. Well, this is going to be our game. One's got to go. Going to name off three things, and we will go around our circle here on screen. And everybody in the comments, please play along and let us know if you had to choose one to go, which one would it be? The first question, one's got to go. A, hashtags. B, keywords. C, alt text. If you don't know what any of those are, let us know. Alicia, first, what would you say?
For me, it's probably gonna be keywords. Y'all know, if you know me, I'm never gonna say hashtags because I'm the hashtag guru. That's my thing. I'm never letting go of hashtags. Let me just clarify there. And I know there's lots of people who feel different ways. I know that the head of Instagram, but I'm telling y'all, it's tried and true for me and my audience, especially those that have localized businesses. Hashtags are still being so used to search for them. So I'm not getting rid of those. I do like keywords, but I think the alt text for me, the reason why I wouldn't get rid of that over keywords is because so many people are not utilizing that. And I think, I'm such a, trying to push inclusivity. And I think that a lot of times you need that alt text for those that need to understand what's going on in the video or the pictures on screen to be able to describe it to them. And so I really do like that feature. A lot of us are missing out by not using that and not including that in our content. So for me, that would be keywords. So yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Heston, what would you say?
Before I give my answer, I just want to make sure I share with you guys. In regards to alt text, you cannot use alt text. If I'm not, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Alicia, but as far as I know, you can't use alt text on Reels. I think it's
Yeah,
only for
not on
carousels
Reels. If
and
it's a
single images.
video carousel, you can use it.
Yeah, yes, if it's a video carousel, you can use it. So not on the specifically Reels can you use alt text, but it does work for all the other content formats. Um, I think Alicia's gonna not like me after this answer, but I'm going with hashtags. I gotta go with hashtags. Don't get me wrong. I still utilize them. I don't use them as much as I used to, but I think that there is still a purpose for them. I just believe from what I've always seen with SEO and from back in my days when I used to do web development with all of these other websites, there's more power in SEO than with hashtags, which either one can be used the wrong way, but when used the right way, and YouTube is a perfect example of this, when used the right way, it's very powerful and that content can last a lot longer. So I would definitely choose hashtags. And I think everything you said about alt text, I completely agree with. It's heavily underutilized. And I don't think a lot of people know what it's really for, what it was actually meant for back in the day. But this is a nice way to utilize it as well to take advantage of helping one group while also helping to serve the SEO purposes in a way as well. So I'm going to go with hashtags.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we did get a couple questions of not knowing what alt text is, and basically, it is a way that you can put descriptions of what is going on in those pictures or those video carousels to help visually impaired or people who are unable to access that visually somehow. So it would read it aloud in like a screen reader. It's done on like web pages. If you were to go to most web pages, if you click on an image and you can actually go into like the info, it will tell you the description of what is actually in that photo. So it's very helpful for that reason, the accessibility. And then also it can be taken into consideration for the keywords, kind of categorizing and helping your algorithm shift, so people know, so the algorithm knows what your content's about. So just help you guys out with that, clear it up. And my answer would actually be hashtags too. So sorry, but I love that keywords are such a big thing right now and how valuable they can be to really impact and shape our algorithm. So I'm excited about what's still to come with that. But thank you everyone for your answers there. And the second question, let's just dive right in. I know we're a little bit short on time. So second one's got to go. A, the explore page, which if you don't know what that is when you go to like your little search on Instagram, little magnifying glass. B, the Reels tab. Or C, the reels that are shown on your edits app. Heston, we'll go with you first.
I gotta go first with that type of question. That's hard. I needed some time on that
Sorry.
one. Just I'll base this answer on my use. I don't go to explore as often compared to the other two options. So I'm gonna choose explore. I'm basing it based on my use.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess I would base it on my use too and say the reels on the edits app. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I just have not found it as useful as I thought it would be. I love it. I love being able to save things there, but I'm still finding myself just utilizing Instagram a lot more and not really using edits. And I do love the explore page, especially for me when I'm, onboarding a new client. I'm trying to look and see what their looking at and trying to utilize that to try to reshape their own algorithm that I'm fixing. So I do really like the Explore tab and just still being able to see what's popular, what's a lot of the ideas that I get. I'm like, oh, this stands out on the Explore tab. So that really comes to mind when I'm looking to see what's fitting in a small, tiny little box on that page that's going to stand out. So I do like the Explore tab a lot.
Yes, yes. I agree. I love the Explore page. I think I go to it more than my home feed. Like I don't know. It's like a fun dopamine addiction I have. I go and I'm like, what's new here? And it amazes me every time about how good it is. Like if I search one thing once, if I click on one topic once, it is like the next time I open my Explore page, it's just full of that topic. So I love it, and it helps me just with my, binging addiction on a certain topic. I see we've got Reels on the Edit app from Ashley. James says Reels that are shown in the Edits app. James, fan of the Explore page. Laura, Reels shown in the Edits app. I have to agree with that too. Sorry, I didn't give my answer. Yeah, I really haven't used it, and to be honest, I'm like editing my content elsewhere and going, oh yeah, darn it, I wanted to use the Edits app, and then I go into it's just not a natural thing yet. So yeah, thank you so much for playing along, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much for all of the answers in the live chat, and I'm looking forward to getting some answers from you guys that are watching the replay in the comments. We are definitely a little bit short on time, so we're going to answer one question that we have here from a fan that apparently they're not here, but they were able to submit this question via our broadcast channel. If you guys want to get access to our broadcast channel, as well as our own links, if you want to find Alicia, her website is listed in the description, as well as my own and Megan and our moderator, Angela. So all of the links are in the description if you're looking to follow us on our respective communities, Instagram and YouTube. So the question that I have, this is from Greg Horton, EduCoach. He wants to know, I love this question. Once you go viral, does that mean you've hit the jackpot and your analytics will shoot through the roof? Which it might sound like a funny question, but I've had questions worded like this before because they believe that viral content takes you to that next level or even a certain amount of followers. So I'm going to go to our guest, Alicia, to answer this question in regards to the idea of what happens when you go viral.
Going viral is such a beautiful and crazy thing to happen all in one thing. So it is good, especially if your content that you've gone viral for is very on brand, it's very in your niche. That is, you got to hit all these check boxes first. So it can be really good for your increase in exposure. And so that's why I tell people always be ready for the viral moment, meaning all your stuff is ready on the back end for you to be able to take intake, new people, new lead generation, all the things need to happen. On the other side of things, sometimes going viral can lead to a lot of negative comments, and we're not used to that because we've built this community that's very friendly. And so we've seen that happen a lot with one of my clients who's has a very solid community on Instagram, and we swapped and started building out Facebook, and we got a lot of hate comments. We ended up having to turn comments off. And so I just tell people, when you are in this process of going viral, understand you've got to have some really thick skin because someone's going to have something to say. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or not. There's still some negativity going on, it seems like, on these social streets. People get really happy behind their thumbs. And so I just want you to be prepared for that, but also understanding that you may go viral and get crickets on new followers. And that is okay too. That's the piece we're talking about, where people need to see some consistency from you, lots of content, not just one or two things. And so if you're brand new, and I know Heston's been talking about it lately in his stories, yes, posting once a day is really, really, that's a stretch for a lot of people. But if you're brand new and you don't have a lot of content out that fits your niche, you may need to post multiple things for a little while so that when people do go to your page, there's a wealth of knowledge there for them to follow you. And so I'm kind of going through that right now as I'm building out a new page. And, posting 3 times a day is not fun. It's not. It's why you need to batch. But it still, in general, is bringing people. So don't get stressed out when you see this thing go viral and they're not following yet. Just understand you need to look at what about this video made it go viral. Was it your hook? Was it a visual hook? Was it a written hook? How long was the video? What was your call to action for that video? Start analyzing that so you can then recreate it. That's the piece I would say hone into the most when you have a viral moment.
Well said. I love that. How about you, Megan, in regards to having that viral moment? How should people respond and what to expect?
Well, first of all, it's okay to be excited. It's great, right? It feels good. I think sometimes people are like, I don't care about the numbers. And it's like, okay, we all kind of care. I mean, wait, right? To a point. But what Alicia was saying there, like the importance of understanding that being ready to go viral, how important that is. If you go viral, making sure that your profile is set up so that when they come over to see your account, they can see you really are for them or not. So you can get those followers. But I actually made a thread about this the other day. Gosh, I don't even remember my own quote there, but going viral once is like eating a salad once and thinking you're going to lose weight, right? So, like, going
I saw
viral once
that.
is not your secret to success, or maybe it was the skinny tea. I couldn't decide skinny tea or salad for that analogy, but it's like that one thing is not the secret to your success, but to really answer the question about how it's going to impact your analytics, yeah, it's going to. Like, I had one post do really well 2 weeks ago, and I still have really good analytics because it's continuously pushing out still and getting that engagement. So you know, for a week to 3 weeks or so, you're going to see an increase in all content results, even if it is just a little bit, just because you have a couple more people coming over and seeing everything that you're sharing because they're checking you out maybe for the first time or they engaged with it. So now you're showing in their feed more. So it does affect it positively for a little while, but you've got to make sure, like Alicia said, you have stuff on the back end. So when they choose to follow you or not, and they care to continue to engage.
Important.
Well said. I'm not even going to add anything else to that because you guys kind of hit all of the major factors in regards to that question. So, thank you, Greg. I don't believe you're in the live chat, but thank you once again for getting that question in. And if you guys want your own questions submitted in for our next episode of the Social Roundtable, please join our broadcast channel. You can find the link in the description, as well as all of the links to our respective communities where you can find us on YouTube and Instagram. You can find myself, Megan, and Alicia, and Angela, our moderator, who you guys have been talking to most of the time during this live. We thank you so much for joining us today as we spoke all about how to get more views on Instagram. Alicia, I want to give you a moment where you could talk to the audience and tell them where they can find you and what are you up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're in the midst of a really strong Reels challenge for the month of May, and we're gearing up for June. The middle of June, we're going to do a carousels challenge. So if you have been wanting to do those fun carousels and get a little bit better, we are going to do a week-long carousel challenge where we're designing new carousels and just getting out of our own shells when it comes to creating carousels across all socials. I am Alicia Noel. I promise you, if you send me a DM, you've got a question, you heard something today that just resonated with you, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to respond because I am all about community and I'm all about building up others. So I'm excited to see more and so excited, you guys. Meg and Heston are just amazing, amazing in what they do. And so every time they put these on, you guys show up for them, show up and because it's showing up for yourself, they're giving you tools that are really helpful. So I absolutely love the social roundtable and just being a part of it anytime I can.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much for that, Alicia. We definitely enjoy you being a guest here. We got to do it a little bit more often as well, too, because you bring it. You bring the honesty, you bring the truth, and you're just a bubble of fun to have on as a guest. So thank you so much. Megan, how about you? Where can the people find you? And if you want to share anything that you are up to?
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you again, Alicia, for being here and everybody here live and watching the replay. Thank you. Thank you. You guys can find me social media with Meg or Megan Harriman on multiple different platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Threads, all the things. Come hang out. And if you have any questions, as always, just hit me up in the DMs.
Slide into the DMs with your questions, comments, as well as for myself as well. If you're interested to learn a little bit more about ManyChat, I have a brand new Instagram subscription community that you might want to check out. It is $1 a month right now, but it is for a limited time. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram and Threads, social.varsity, or this same channel that you're watching right now on YouTube, Social Varsity, no dot in the middle. Thank you guys once again for joining us on this latest episode of the Social Roundtable. We thank you guys. Hope to see you guys next week, and we will chat with you then. And of course, also, shout out to Angela, our moderator. Thank you so much. We
Always.
will talk with you guys later. See you next Monday and have a great one. All right,
Bye.
guys. Later.